Greetings and salutations, fine people. I'm Patti Alvarez. Welcome to The Good Soul, a show where we'll have supercharged chats with everyday humans from all walks of life and unpack what in their story will inspire us all. We'll extract the untapped wisdom, distill it, and serve it up to you in all the right ways that will engage, enlighten, and most of all, inspire growth within your soul. I think people are awesome. So join me on this journey through the hearts and minds of ordinary people to uncover the good soul within you. This is The Good Soul.
Welcome to episode 72 of The Good Soul. I am your guest host today, Sue Ratcliff. Today, the tables are turned. I get the honour of interviewing the heart behind this podcast, Patti Alvarez. This episode is called All About Me, but really it's about so much more. Patti lives with a tremendous love for people, for wellness, for creativity, and for life itself. From her face plants and lessons learned to her triumphs and big wins, her journey is one of fierce determination, joy, and copious amounts of blessings. She has built businesses, she has taught yoga, she is a loving wife and a cool mom. She has created spaces where people feel inspired and uplifted. And today, she's opening up her story in a way that she never has before, the moments that shaped her, the passions that keep her moving, and the wisdom she's gathered along the way. This episode is filled with heart, it's filled with inspiration, and it's a reminder that living our best lives starts with the courage to be fully ourselves. So let's dive in. This is Patti like you've never heard her before. Whoa. Welcome, Patti.
Thank you, Sue. Yeah, that was a lot. That's a lot to live up to.
When we did my interview, I said that I felt like I was doing all the talking and I wanted to hear more about you and your life, Patti. So here we go.
Thank you, Sue.
We're going to start, Patti, by asking you just a little bit about your childhood and your upbringing.
Okay. Well, I was born on May 12th, 1972. In a town called Red Bank, New Jersey. And I grew up in the town next door to Red Bank called Middletown. I had two very incredible, loyal, and loving parents, both extraordinary people. My mother was a stay-at-home mom and a Italian-American. Her parents were of Italian descent. And so she's, I guess, second generation would be, right? Mm-hmm. And my father is third generation Irish. His parents were born in America, and they lived probably about two towns away from one another. They met in their teens. My mom was a little bit older than my father, but he lied to her, which I love the story. He lied to her, and he got pulled over once when they were driving, and she figured out that he was 3 years younger than she thought he was because she saw his driver's license, which I thought was hysterical.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, that's my dad for you. Slick Rick.
That's the luck of the Irish, right?
The luck
Patti?
of the Irish, that's right. So I have two older sisters, and actually they had built our house probably a year or two before I was born. So I had always lived at the same address. Mm-hmm. And to this day, my sister and her husband are now raising their family in the house. Well, her kids are getting older now, but they're still in the same house.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I love
really
that.
Cool. Yeah. Very, I like to say charmed life. I was a cheerleader from when I could walk. My parents, my mom handed me a set of pom-poms or plopped me on a stage, and I liked being in front of people. I've always enjoyed inspiring crowds, and went on to become a cheerleader in high school and did student council and that sort of thing. I was never the greatest student. I was probably like a C-ish kind of student. I was more interested in
that really surprises me, actually.
Oh,
Patti.
really?
I see you as one of the most intelligent, wise women that I know. So
intelligent?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
100%.
Interesting. Well, thank you. I think a lot of self-help is what, I mean, I got my start. Like I was just saying to my cousin and her husband over the weekend, like I want to start reading more of the classics. I never read Catcher in the Rye. I've never seen The Matrix. Like there's certain things that are kind of staples and important parts of, I think, our lives that and I don't have my college degree. I would love to go back to school at some point and get my degree in public administration before I run for
love how
Senate.
you're still so full of all those life dreams.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about your parents and what it is about them that kind of instilled your current values
Oh,
in
God.
you.
Okay, so my mother had a tremendous love for food and fashion and beauty and music and always watching like Dallas or the Jeffersons or Three's Company. Like we always embraced culture in all the best ways. And she really instilled in me, I think, a fierce joy for the simple everyday moments. And I have a very vivid memory of my parents did, if you're from New Jersey, you'll know this, like Barnacle Bill's decor, a little bit North Harbor Grill. Like our den was kind of decorated after a ship. Like the walls were, I don't know what kind of wood, like stained gray. And there was a bar and our couch was made out of a boat. And we had a big ship's wheel. And I can remember lying on the couch and my mother would lay on her side and I would put my head like right on her butt. Her butt would be my pillow. And we would watch, whatever we would watch, Knots Landing or Falcon Crest, all those shows. And I remember coming home. Well, her show was Days of Our Lives was her midday show. She would tape it for me. But so those are the things I think I embrace the most about my mother is the fun and the simple. She didn't like to travel a ton. She liked it, but she liked being home. She liked cooking and
lots of Italian food, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, but everything she made was delicious. And a lot of times when I'll make a dish, I'll say it tastes like mom. Sadly, I'll tease her. Spoiler alert: we did lose her in 2012. I know it's terrible. I can't. The date's not sticking in my head. 2012 or 13. My dad, on the flip side, was a very hard worker. I like to describe him as kind of like a rags to riches type story. He grew up in a town in New Jersey called Keansburg, which is a very blue collar seashore town. There was a boardwalk where he lived, and my grandfather was a welder, and they had a lemon ice stand on the boardwalk in Keansburg, which I thought was really cool. And I think it was called Yummy Ice. Anyway, my father's hard work ethic was really kind of just consumes me. And to this day consumes me. My sister always says, and my mother used to say, like, everything about my body, I always look at my thumbs. I'm like, that's my dad's thumb. Like, we're so similar that I feel like so much of him has become a part of me.
Because you never stop working, actually, in my mind, Patti, whether it be here, whether it be doing these podcasts, whether it be writing your emails, all the other things that you love to do. So that's very obvious that you've inherited that from your dad. Yeah,
well, it's, I think, a part of like a whole cohesive unit that the yoga is the heartbeat. Well, my family and my love for my children, my husband are the heart of it all, and my love for myself and my quality of life. Then that like kind of stems off into the yoga and my spirituality, and then the blog, and then the podcast. So the plan is to really kind of roll it out in a way where our weekly topic we're going to come up with for the blog, so that will then become the weekly topic of the podcast. And in turn, someday, of course, I'm working on an app so people all over the world can. I consider myself a conduit and not a prophet, poet, or sage by any stretch of the word. And I'd like to get a little bit more into my father, but that's always the big thing I like to say. Like, I am just, what's the word? Dilettante. It's like a lover of life. Like, I'm not great at anything, but I'm really in love with the things I'm in love with.
I beg to differ, Patti. I think you're amazing at yoga and so many other things. But I know we have to wrap up this session.
Yes.
But I'd love to hear just a little bit more about your parents and your dad and how that kind of affected you and who you are today.
I'm here for it.
All right. We'll be back.
This segment of The Good Soul is brought to you by Aaron Fisnick, certified luxury home specialist with Ivester Jackson, Christie's International Real Estate. Aaron serves all levels of the greater Lake Norman region real estate market, and whether buying or selling, she is very much the lady who will deliver like no other. Many of us at Good Soul are also really happy clients. Aaron can be reached at 704-728-5657 or reach out to me and I'll get you guys connected. Thank you, Aaron Fisnick, and thank you guys for tuning in and supporting The Good Soul.
Hey everyone, welcome back to episode 72 of The Good Soul, all about me. So here I am interviewing our leader, Patti Alvarez, today. We've heard a little bit about her childhood and her incredible parents and the values that they instilled in her. So just talk to me a little bit more about your amazing dad and Patti, and then other like notable figures in your life. Sure. I know your sisters and your best friend Stacey. Want to hear a lot more about that.
Okay, awesome. So I just, again, I can't emphasize, I think I gave a lot to my mom time-wise, and I hope I conveyed, I always say in my dreams and in reality, when they're coming to my mind, I always say, like, my mother's good with me. Like, she doesn't bother me a lot in my dreams or in my, in my heart when I'm feeling them. My father is always in my head, and he's always showing up in my dreams and sending me messages, and continues to encourage and inspire me. He used to say, use your voice, and I that's probably one of the most powerful things anybody has said to me in my entire life. That's had the most of an influence on, I guess, my dreams and my goals and my motivations. So my sisters, Kelly and Tammy, are just two incredible ladies. So my sister Kelly is the mother of three. I don't want to give away too much of everybody's information, but just I would consider my best friend. Don't be mad, Stay, when I say that.
Eldest sister.
Kelly's the middle, so I'm the baby.
Yeah.
And she's got three amazing kids, and her husband, who I argue we call him the King Turt. Long story, but arguably one of my favorite people. And my sister Tammy is a Manhattanite. She lives in the city, and she does a lot in foreign exchange programs. Right now, is working at does and has been working at Columbia University, placing foreign exchange students. Yeah, which I think is a really rewarding and exciting job.
What's the age gap between you all?
Tammy is 66. So she's 59. She was born in 66. Kelly is 69, was born in 69. She's 55 now. She's going to be 55. And I was born in 72.
Okay.
I'm 53. So, Kelly's going to be 56. Ooh. So anyway, sorry if everybody, I hate talking about other people because I don't want to give away too much.
So what was the dynamic like between the three of you sisters growing up?
So Tammy was, I don't want to say a lot older than me, but she was older enough that we never really fought with one another. And I think personality-wise, we're a lot different than each other. And she is very, very smart. Like if you play Jeopardy with her, she knows every single answer, no joke. My sister Kelly's very smart, but kind of in a similar way to me. Both of them graduated. Tammy has her master's degree, and both of them graduated from college. Kelly is, I would say, very family oriented. She's the matriarch of our family since we lost our mother. And she really keeps us all kind of together and in line. And Kelly worked with me when I had Funk and Standard, which we will get into.
Yes.
And her love and loyalty for family and business really came through to me through that business. Although she's always been a loyal and loving sister, it really was on its best display, or its, I should say, as we entered adulthood, it was like a great representation of who she is to me and to our family by the way she supported me through that business.
Yeah.
So
amazing.
Yeah.
And then I know you had a best friend, Stacey, who was another important figure in your life. So, it's always interesting to me how those important figures kind of see you through the good times and the bad times and everything else, and play a big part in who you become. Sure.
Well, we went to a beach club in the summer called Trade Winds.
Yeah.
So we had our beach club, our summer friends, and then our school friends. So without taking anything away from Stacey, I would say I'll save the best for last. My summer best friend was Becky, and I didn't put this in the show notes, so this is kind of a curveball, but Becky was my summer best friend, and to this day is a dear friend to me. And she was actually my first roommate when we got our first apartment together in Red Bank. It was Becky and I. We went to the same college, although I didn't stay. She did.
Okay.
And then Stacey, I met in second grade, walking down the hall. It was like a love at first sight. We kind of passed each other. We both remember the moment when we passed, and we were like, hi. And she's like, hi. Stacey was by far the best part of my childhood, and I would argue, I'm getting emotional, probably one of the best parts of my life. She is the funniest person you will ever meet, but funny in a way that isn't textbook funny. I mean, she belongs in Hollywood. I'm assuming she could be a writer for SNL if she put her mind to it. She is now in Austin, Texas, and she has an adorably perfect daughter named Ellie who just turned 11. And
wow.
we pretty much, I'm sure before the episode ends, I'll get a couple texts and my phone will ring and it'll be her.
Yeah.
Because we just talk all day.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So if it's okay, you mentioned you didn't stay in college. Is it okay if we talk a little bit more about that?
Oh my God. I'm glad
what
you're
happened
bringing
there?
it up. Yeah.
And then transitioned into, you setting up your own retail store.
Yeah, okay. So I think I would have to guess, I mean, ADD wasn't a big thing when we were kids. And I don't even know, maybe it's self-diagnosis or not, but I always had a lot of trouble sitting in one place and in like that context, like listening. And I was saying to Manny on the last episode how I always have dreams that it's the end of the school year and I didn't graduate, or I didn't go to a class all year, and how am I going to graduate? And I was saying, like, I'm not proud of this, but like I always was like, well, I'll figure out a way. Like I'll not charm my way through it, but I will rig my way through it. And I don't know that I like that. And that's why I keep saying I want to go back to college.
Yeah.
I got to college. I had a long-term boyfriend at that point. I had my high school sweetheart. That relationship was 8 years long. So he was at home. He had gone right into working. And that was part of it.
Yep.
At that point, my parents were going through some stuff within their marriage, which they endured and stayed together forever. But I wanted to get home to be there with them. I think that was troublesome on my mind. And I didn't really like showering in flip-flops. So something about dorm life it wasn't for me.
Yeah. So there were a whole range of factors.
A whole range of factors. Then it was like, oh my God, I felt so bad. And I kept trying and holding on. And I ended up having to do something grand to compensate. And that was open up a clothing store at 18 years old.
Amazing.
To make up for the fact that I'm not going to college like all of my friends are doing. Yeah. And I didn't feel in my heart like I was kind of
I'm a firm believer there's no one path, right, for everybody. Yeah. We're all raised to think that, you go graduate high school, you go to college, you get your job, but it doesn't have to be that.
No.
Way.
I agree wholeheartedly.
So you can still be equally as successful. So I'm sure there was a lot going on for you internally at that point. But
well, I think too that one of my most powerful moments in terms of this question, when we moved here, and what kind of made me really fall in love with this area and the school system, the Lake Norman, Iredell County school system, was we got a letter from Mr. Gentle, I believe it was the principal, or it might have been the superintendent.
It's a great name, isn't it?
Mr. Gentle.
Yes.
Yeah. But the letter basically was like, parents, stop like pushing your kids to all go to college. It's not for everybody. That there is so much hope and promise and need for trades, electricians and cable and plumbers and mechanics. And they're the heartbeat of our society. And I felt really bad about myself. I mean, I always feel like I have to explain. And that one letter that I saw was like so powerful to me. And I was like, wow, this is really exciting.
I mean, I know personally I didn't go to college for 2 years after I graduated high school. I went into a job, and then after 2 years, for a number of reasons, I was like, actually, now I'm ready to go to college. Now my son, he's been in the Navy for 4 years, and now he's in college. So there's a different path for everybody, right?
Oh God, yeah.
And it doesn't have to involve college.
No, I think, well, it doesn't. And I'm not, and I'm sure you agree, I'm not criticizing college. I mean, all three of our daughters are college graduates. But no, I wanted to get to work. I had come up with my sister had worked for a realtor, and there was a vacant store in one of the buildings and that he was, I guess, managing. And she's like, what do you say? Do you want to open a store? So what inspired that was that our aunts, my mother was one of 9 siblings.
Wow.
8 women, and my Uncle Nick was the oldest.
Wow.
And a lot of my aunts most of them were seamstresses. A few of them worked in, now if you're a Red Bank or a New Jersey person, you'll know the Galleria is, it's like a merino mill here, but not quite as big. And there was a sewing factory there. They sewed uniforms during World War II.
Wow.
And isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And M&M factory store was in Keyport, New Jersey, which would be like Statesville, about that distance from here. And my aunts managed this store, M&M factory store. And that, I guess, was what kind of inspired me to want to open up the store, which leads me back to my sister working with the realtor who had the vacant space.
Yeah.
And she proposed that we open the store. Yeah. So at that point, our grandparents died, believe it or not, very close. I think it was 3 weeks apart, my father's parents. And they left us some money. It wasn't a ton of money, but I remember I bought myself a Rolex watch, and we pooled our money and we opened a store.
Yeah. So the stars kind of collided at the right time.
They did.
I'm thinking, your dad's work ethic. Did he have his own business?
Oh, yes. My father was in the tire business.
Your mum's love of fashion and
life.
And the seamstress kind of thing, which, by the way, my mum was one of those too. But,
oh, yeah.
And so we're going to hear some more about Funk and Standard and what the heck is that name all about, and what inspired you to do that.
Okay.
So we're going to take a break here, and then we'll be back for segment 3. Thank you, Patti.
Thank you, Sue. Want a little bit more rainbows and unicorns in your life? Start your day with Good Soul Daily. Every morning, you'll find me in your inbox where I share a quick story, lesson, or quote to spark joy and inspiration. Come join our hundreds of daily readers and let's step into our new day together with my lighthearted, Pollyannic approach. I would be honored if you'd allow me into your heart and head where you are sure to be delighted and inspired. Text me over your email address to 704-618-7993 for your daily dose of happiness and reassurance that life is pretty darn awesome.
About Funk and Standard and your success there, and working with your sister and getting married and having Molly, right?
Yeah.
Manny, I love you. Don't sulk. You're like my Brad. We had a little, not a fight before I left, but I was feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah. Okay, let's continue. Thank you, so sorry.
Okay.
Let's do it. Back to normal. We'll go in.
With my smiles on our faces.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back, everybody, to segment 3, episode 72. This is all about me with our lovely Patti Alvarez. So we've talked about Patti's childhood, and she's now 18. Or a little bit older?
Yeah. I mean, so I went into school. I went into Westchester University on a special program the summer before because my grades weren't good enough. And so I went in the summer before. So I had to, I guess, do some prep work. Did the first semester and then transferred to FIT, the Fashion Institute of Technology, the second semester, the spring semester of 19. At that point, it would be 91. I graduated high school in 90. So from there, that was the point when my sister was like, hey, why don't we open a store? So we pooled our money and we opened a store in Neptune, New Jersey. We called it the Chic Boutique.
Okay.
And we had decided, we wanted to pursue this. She was going to school too. She was getting ready to graduate from college.
What did she graduate in?
I believe business administration, if I'm not mistaken.
So she had a little bit of that
knowledge. Yeah. Oh,
right.
yeah.
Okay.
And it was just, again, it was kind of in our blood from our father. So from there, while we kind of, I was 18, she was maybe 21, 22.
Yep.
So the business obviously kind of unraveled itself. We moved from Neptune to a place in another town called West End, which is a part of Long Branch, again, a beach town.
Okay.
And at that point, things like kind of unraveled a little bit. I wasn't properly educated or prepared to have a store. And I had come up with a business plan for a store called Patty Cakes. And I brought the plan to my father, who said, learn more. Go get yourself a job with a retailer, perhaps become an assistant buyer or work in stores.
Yeah.
And come back to me in a year or two when you're better equipped for this. And we're going to sit down. So I went and worked in Manhattan for a company called Kennar, which at the time on the Times Square marquee, Kennar had the ads space there for a very long time during the 90s and that Linda Evangelista, the supermodel, like, George Michael Freedom era.
Yeah.
And I just thought I was so cool because I worked for this company. And it was rough. I had, all due respect to anybody who works in the garment district in New York City, that is a tough business, and the people are tough.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a Bikram class. Like, I'm sure the insiders laugh at each other's toughness, but when you're...
So tell me a bit more about why it's so tough. Obviously I'm from the UK.
Remember, I'll never use the woman's name. I will never forget. I would never treat a person the way this woman treated me. It was probably the first time I was ever really directly mistreated. I remember my father, as I said, he was a hardworking guy and he liked to buy us nice clothes and things, and he gave me a blank check and he said, go in and buy yourself some clothes so you can wear the clothing that you're, working in the showroom. And I'll never forget, it was like $1,100 worth of these high-end clothes. And at the time, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
And of course, I worked back. I paid him back for this, well, maybe some of it. But the woman who was my boss used to come in and she'd make me take out my invoice to make sure that what I was wearing was something that I bought, which I thought was hysterical. I'm like, why don't you just keep a copy of this? And every time you see me wearing something, you could double check that I paid for it and didn't steal it from the showroom. And then at one point, I'll never forget, was my last day. I was sitting at my desk, and this was a very powerful moment in my life. I was sitting at my desk and she walked in and she said, put this on a hanger. And she threw it at me, and I'll never forget. It was a big blouse and it landed on my head, like part on my head. And I didn't move a muscle. This was even before computers. I was probably working on what we called line sheets, and I just didn't move. And there were like 4 salespeople behind me. Everyone was so afraid of this lady. Everybody like sat still and froze. And I remember this guy, Mario, like kind of turned and looked at me like, you going to put up with that? And I took the blouse calmly off my head. I put it on my desk. I grabbed the pictures of my friends and my boyfriend. I put them in my purse. I got up and I walked out. Okay. I walked straight to Port Authority. I called from a payphone because we didn't have cell phones then. Ann Shack was the office manager, nicest woman. And I said, Ann, I'm sorry, I'm not coming back.
Can't do it anymore.
And
how old were you then at this point?
21, 22.
Okay, so you'd done it for a few years.
Yeah. No. I was only at Kennard for about a year, so maybe 20. I said, I'm not coming back. And she said, what took you so long? We all couldn't.
It's amazing, like, how she would say that. And there had been no discussion.
Yeah, they were brutal.
Her, the person.
I'll never forget, we were in a sales meeting once, and one of the sales assistants, like, I had this, and this taught me, the moral of the story is it taught me how not to treat people who work under me, especially young people starting out. I had on this beautiful blazer. I can't remember the brand, but it looked almost like Michael Jackson's Thriller, but it was this thick wool, gorgeous jacket.
I used to have jackets like that.
And I'll never forget, I looked over and one person, they were making fun of me. She wrote Thriller and like passed a note. Like, I just remember feeling like so demeaning. Yeah. And they were like in their early 30s and I was 20. And I'll say it again. It just reminded me how not to treat people. So I had left, and at that point, I went from Kennard to applying at FIT. They had a job posting board. I applied. Actually, let me rewind a little bit. At some point while I was at Kennard, this is another really powerful moment. I was walking down Broadway, and I walked into my first Urban Outfitters on Broadway between Bleecker and Houston, and I fell to my knees. And that kind of completely, in my mind, reconfigured the Patty Cakes business plan. And I thought, and still think, these people are genius. And I'm still wearing an Anthropologie, which is a part of the company. Sure. I mean, they're still to this day a very, they play an integral role in my character and my sense of style. Yeah. And I went back.
So what was it about that?
Yeah.
It was just nothing that you'd ever seen before.
Have you ever walked into an Urban Outfitters?
100%.
Yeah. It's like, there's nothing in the world like it. I mean, it's bursting with flavor and life and the music and the smells. And I get like emotional when I think
so you noticed all those things.
Oh, I felt so alive in there. Like I felt so, and I try to bring that into my home, into the yoga
so much
studio.
So that you then wanted to recreate something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, fashionista.
Yeah.
He said fashionista. And not only did I want to recreate it, but I also, every time I walk into my closet in the morning, and I choose what I'm going to put on, I want to recreate that emotion so that if somebody, I don't go out of my way to dress big or to like, puff my chest out and be like, I'm cool. I do it because I feel as though a beautiful outfit and a little bit of pride in your appearance and an open heart and a warm smile elevates people.
I agree totally.
The
I was raised that way by my mom too. So she was always elegant, always well dressed. We were always well dressed. She made all of our clothes. She was a seamstress too, and then she was a buyer for a retailer.
I didn't know any of this.
Yeah, you too. And that would have been a lot for you to talk about.
Yeah.
But she just instilled in me that, and I still to this day, I get up, I put my makeup on, I wash my hair, I put on, nothing like you.
Yeah,
you have
you and your
wonderful.
Bowden. I love your Bowden. I saw this. Did you see the suit of the season? It was that plaid suit I just saw on Adam.
Yeah.
No, nothing is ever an accident. And I don't know if my husband realizes this or not. Even when I go in, if I get home from work 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, and I go in to put like a sweatsuit on, it's everything is there's. I'll never just throw anything on.
No.
When I get up in the middle of the night and I just wear like a plain black nightie, like a slip almost. But my not to be graphic, like my underwear have to match my what I'm wearing. I have to look at my hair and fix my hair. Well, Molly has this joke, Molly Jane, Beach Baby Patty. One time we were in Mexico and my hair got messy and I didn't realize it. And I walked in the bathroom and I came out. We were in Tulum. And I was like, why the F didn't you tell me my hair looked like that, Molly Jane? She's like, no, I like Beach Baby Patty. I like Patty who's not worried about what she looks like. And it's just, but it's kind of reminds me of the movie Memoirs of a Geisha, which had a very profound impact on my life. Is the scene when, not that I'm condoning prostitution here, but the scene where she said, you can walk down the street and you can move another person, specifically a man, but I say anybody, with like the gaze, just by the way you present yourself.
Yes.
And I fall short plenty of times. I'm not suggesting I'm an elegant geisha, but you want to be able to uplift people. And let's circle back to what started this little monologue of mine is walking into Urban Outfitters for the first time really exemplified that kind of meaning in life to me.
Okay.
That like carnival.
Okay, so we're gonna get on to funk and standard.
I know.
In the
I'm
next
sorry.
segment,
We're definitely going to
Patti,
do an episode.
No, this is great because we
Yeah.
are learning so much about you and kind of what makes you the person that you are today. So I am super excited to hear about this next phase of your life, having heard about all the factors that came together to create that and create Good Soul. Actually,
yeah. Well, and I think the moral of my story is. And anytime, God knows, you guys, I have so many screw ups and I'm so hard on myself. So I don't mean to make this episode about me, but
it is about you.
But about me because I think I'm great. But because I'll say it again, I want to be a conduit. I've learned so much and I've experienced so much, and that's the thing that I.
This is wonderful.
Thanks.
All right, we will be back for segment 4 already.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Who isn't looking to get happy and healthy and empower themselves in an extraordinary fitness community? At Good Soul Hot Yoga, we offer life-changing yoga, strength training, cycling, and relaxing therapeutic classes that will make everything in your life feel better. For some power, balance, and peace of mind, we will deliver. Come experience our spa-like wonderland in the center of Mooresville. We will become your happy place.
Welcome back. Here we are at segment 4, episode 72. All about me with Patti Alvarez. And I'm enjoying this so much. For a living, I interview families whose children have cancer because of my role at Pinky Swear, which is very uplifting and helpful to them in a different kind of way to this. But it's kind of one of the reasons why I just love talking to people. I love finding out about their lives and what makes them tick. And here we are with Patti.
Thanks. Well, it's an honor to be interviewed and asked questions by you. So thanks.
We now want to move on to the next phase of your life, funk and standard. So tell us all about that and what that was all about. And first of all, I want to know what inspired that Name. Yes.
Well, I don't know. Okay. So I don't know if my husband's gonna like this story, but I'll tell it anyway. No, it's not. It's not terrible, but it's good. It's a good story. So at that point, I was working at Kennar. I parlayed that into going to the Career Resource Center after I walked out of my job there.
Straight away. That was your next stop.
Well, almost. I came home and then went back into the city and found a job working as a showroom assistant at Free People, which is a clothing line that is owned by Urban Outfitters at the time. Free People Anthropology only had one store. Free People had no stores. And then they had Ecote and Co-op, where there are 4 clothing lines. And buyers from all over the world would come to our showroom. I would get to travel to Gap, Pennsylvania on busy seasons, and we literally had to help them pack boxes for shipment. We did trade shows in Manhattan at the Javits Center, Las Vegas at what we call Magic now. I think it's still called Magic. And my boss was a man named Michael Schultz, who is probably one of the most influential and positive influences in my life. He just this skinny little man who grew up in Long Island. His wife was at the time design director for the Gap. Her name is Lisa Schultz. When I worked with him, she was listed as Time Magazine's 25 most influential people.
Wow.
And she was. He called her Mrs. Rockefeller. At
so
any
did you
rate,
get to know her as well?
I didn't. I never even met Lisa Schultz because she was always so busy. But Michael worked with Dick Hayne, who was the owner of Urban Outfitters. They went to college at University of Pennsylvania, and they opened their first location there. It was called Free to the People, and it was a store similar to Urban Outfitters. And I always say like Offbeat Gifts. It's like a lifestyle store is what I would consider it.
Okay.
So, I mean, at that point, I literally went to Dick Hayne's house for Christmas parties. That's how small the company was. I think they had 30 doors at that point, plus the wholesale line. So anyway, while working at Urban, he always used to say, "Darling, you're going places. Darling, you're going places." And I continued to work on my business plan. And at that point, I had met my ex-husband, who I have an amicable relationship with. Yeah. And I was working on the plan and working on the plan and working on the plan.
How did you meet him?
We went to high school together. No, we went to high school together, and he went to the next town over grammar school, middle school we went to together, and then high school. We had some mutual friends, and we worked at the same restaurant. We all decided we were going. He actually dated Becky, my summer best friend, in high school. And we all were going to the Bahamas, and we all got a job at a restaurant called Hannah's. It was my first job. We were bus girl and bus boy. And me, him, Stacy. Becky didn't work with us, but we had to save money to go to the Bahamas. And we laugh. I can't believe that our parents, the things they let us do, driving to Daytona Beach in a car with 3 boys, a pack of cigarettes, and, no cell phones. Like when I was, 17 years old, it's
and
like.
And they were like, see you later.
Yeah, like,
and they weren't worried while you were away, right?
I guess
just
not.
Carried on with their lives.
I was left flapping in the breeze. I was the third. So my mother really didn't, she was like, do whatever you want. But not really. But of course she cared. But I think she trusted in my.
So you reconnected with him.
So then. Mark and I, he went to. He got his bachelor's at Manhattan College. Actually, I think he got his bachelor's and transferred to LSU. He came back from LSU, and he was still friends with Stacy. And Stacy was having a New Year's party. We commuted.
Hey, Stacy.
Yeah, she lives in Hoboken. Oh, you'll love her. She's the best. At any rate, at that point, we had started dating, and all I did to come up with Funkin' Standard was put a bunch of words in a Word document. I don't know if it was Word at the time, and I started piecing together words, and he had gotten his first job on Wall Street, and I called him, and I was like, "What do you think of Funkin' Standard Variety Store?" And he goes, "I love it." And that was it. I was like, done. That was it.
So all the time that you were working in this other organization, kind of this idea was in your head about having your...
my whole life. I think everything is a series of events from when I was a little kid, even
Yep.
when I look back on shopping in Martha's Vineyard with my parents and my Izod shoelaces, going to Chicago Jeans in 6th grade with my mother and buying me, a Spree. There was a store called the Youth Center in Red Bank, and we'd go school shopping every year. And I remember the box. It was a big box that looked like a suitcase, but it was a white box with a handle. And I'd go home and I'd take out my clothes and I'd lay them out and piece all my outfits together in multiples. I don't know if you were from England. I don't know if you guys had multiples. All the different things that
it's all very different. So it's fascinating for me to hear about.
Well, and then smells and, hugging my aunt and smelling her perfume, or my best friend Stacy's mother, I would smell like she wore Youth Dew by Estee Lauder. And the smell, I always say, like, she's the only person that made cigarettes smell good.
It's funny how that's a big memory from
wine, cigarettes, and Youth Dew. And I the smell of her was so good. Yeah. Oh, she was beautiful. Stacy's mother, beautiful and glamorous. So all these things kind of influence what. And actually, I had a very similar moment with Good Soul, which we'll get to in the next episode, but with Rachel, same with Mark, where it was like that moment when Mark said that to me about Funk and Series, very quiet, and what he said kind of mattered. Like if he had a strong opinion, when he says it, it's like, yep, that's the truth. Yeah. And
what
Rachel,
did he say?
When I said, what do you think of Funk and Standard? And he said, yeah. Rachel, she walked by my computer. I had that orange logo, this Good Soul logo. And I said, Ray, Good Soul Hot Yoga, what do you think? And she goes, I love it. And I was like, that's it. That's exactly what the logo is going to look like.
So that's your Rachel, that's right, Manny? Yes.
That's what she's saying. I mean, they're quiet, they say something, you're listening. It's got to mean
something. They don't BS. They don't BS. Yeah. What they say is the truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you established the store.
I established it.
You got married
come up with
to
a plan.
Mark.
Okay, this is another important thing. So I established the store, and this is something I really want to kind of hone in on for people to get something out of, is the talk of privilege and talk of, like, you hear politicians who had rich fathers. And, my father, the privilege I had was watching my father work really hard and overcome so much adversity. My mother was Italian, and they had to work very hard to work their way up the social and cultural ranks in our society. And I'm very proud of the job they did, because they were such good people. And a lot of times people think like a person in my circumstance was handed a blank check and said, go open a store. And that wasn't the case. My father made me write up a business plan. I will never forget. We had to get in the car and go to the bank and fill out a loan application. So the privilege was also that he co-signed the loan, right? But there are plenty of opportunities for anybody through the Small Business Administration, through all kinds of nonprofits who help to support and enable small businesses to open. So that's my point, is that you can really kind of harness your power and use the resources that are given to us in this great country. It's not just about having a rich parent. So we went to the bank.
I can identify. My parents came from very, very working class backgrounds. My dad wanted to do better. He worked really, really hard. And, my brother and I were the first in our family to go to college and all those kind of things. So I can and we did it all on our own. And I can completely identify with that sentiment.
It's not that tough.
For your father and my father.
Well, yeah. Well, they worked hard.
Yeah, overseas. My dad, the same thing, like your dad.
Yeah.
Second generation.
Yeah, and the same thing, but applies to that is the beauty of finding what you love. And my father will tell you, and I'll tell you, and I'm sure that Jeff Bezos will tell you, and any successful person will tell you. And I, by no means at that level, obviously, but I'm doing what I love, and I'm doing a little bit every day. That it's no big, once in a while I'll come in and do something epic, like paint a wall or redo the equipment wall, or, like sign up to, I don't know, like build an app, you do big things. But the most important thing is that you do what you love and you don't settle for what you feel forced into.
Yeah. Very important. Listen to this. I'm supposed to actually, in these notes, tell you listeners to think about some of the things that Patti's saying, but I think that's a really important thing that you just said. It's really about finding out what you love in life, and sadly there's a lot of people who've not found that yet, right? Despite having gone through decades of their lives and aren't necessarily doing something they love. So
I don't want to skip too many steps, but that brings me back to why I'm doing what I'm doing today, which we will get roundabout to in the next episode, is that at this place, I mean, we just had a student come in today, one of my dear friends, Erin, who was upset about something. And she said, I come here because it brings me back to me. It enables me to be a better version of myself. So I always say, you're a better realtor. You're a better lover.
Hello,
you're a
Erin.
better hugger. You're a better driver. You're a better, whatever it is, your chosen craft, whatever it is that you have to do out in the real world, through reading the blog, through doing some good yoga or inferno classes for a hug from the person you take class with next to every day. By coming in this place, it's like we're filtering out and processing a lot of stuff within ourselves with the support of other people so that we can go out. And this in turn is how I plan to make the world a better place, by making people be better at who they are.
Yeah. Oh, I can so identify with that. Whatever kind of day I've had, good, bad or indifferent, I say to Brad all the time, Good Soul is my happy place. However I'm feeling when I walk in that door, I'm feeling much better when I walk out for so many reasons.
And me too. Me too.
And it's not just about the yoga. It's about so much more than that. So,
well,
okay.
my sister said to me, I'll end on this note. We are going to have an episode 2 because we got to talk more about funk and Good Soul. But I will say that my sister said to me a couple weeks ago when she was here, she texted me while I was teaching. And I said, teaching, I'll text you in a couple hours. And she wrote, like, you are so lucky to get to do what you are able to do every day. And I was like, damn right, I am. So
lucky,
goddamn right.
Lucky, but you made your own success as well, Patti.
Sue, thank you for saying, and I'm not saying that like, yeah, you're right, but you're right. I am fully aware that I am fully responsible and the curation of my everyday moment and the moments and the quality of my life. And I blame no one or nothing if it doesn't go my way.
And a lot of it's about courage, right? Because why we don't follow our dreams is because of fear. Okay, this could go wrong. That could go wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be successful.
Yeah.
It's all about your mindset, you know?
I think it's time. Yeah, I think it's time. I don't know why Bill isn't in our ear, but I think we have to wrap it up.
Yes.
Yeah. Bill,
Hello,
can you
Bill.
hear us?
Maybe Bill's gone.
I don't know. Maybe he went to the loo.
So that was kind of Patti part 1. We're at age about 25 here or a bit younger, right?
About 20,
younger.
25, between 20 and 25.
So we've got a whole 25 plus years to cover in episode 73, which we will do very soon. So I hope you've enjoyed this little insight into the wonderful Patti Alvarez that we all love so much. And thank you for listening.
Love you.
We will
Love
be
you,
back.
Yeah, guys. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. See you next episode.